Okay, so in this video, we're going to go over the triangle angle bisectors. So this would have been an in-class activity, but I'm going to do this kind of with you. So follow along and see if you can kind of think ahead to figure out what the answer is before I tell you. Okay, so looking at the first one, what I'm seeing is, well, first off, they tell us each triangle has one of its angle bisectors drawn. Okay, so what I see drawn is the angle bisector for F, angle F. And if they tell me that DFR, that's the whole angle, that is 55 degrees, then angle 1 is half of that. So take your 55 degrees, and divide it in half, and you should be getting 27.5 degrees. Okay, that's what angle 1 is. Okay, for question number 2, the angle bisector is of angle X. So find the measure of angle NXE. NXE. So that's the big guy. And they tell you that the measure of angle 1 is 25. If 1 is 25, that means that 2 is 25. And therefore 1 plus 2 is going to be 50 degrees. Okay, that brings us down to number 3. Now here, it says each triangle shows its 3 angle bisectors intersecting at point C. So point C is the insector. And do you see those little red lines? Those are the perpendicular lines that are drawn from the incenter to the opposite side. All those red pieces are going to be equal. So let's see what they have us do. They are saying if CI is 8, so maybe I can make this bigger. Okay, so if CI is 8, so this piece is, that doesn't really work that way. So let me go back. So let me redraw this. And CZ. So what they're doing is they're giving you information about this triangle. So if this is I, and this is Z, and this is C, and they said that CI was 8, and that CZ was 17, they want you to find ZI. So you're back into Pythagorean Theorem. So let me just draw this a little clearer. Okay, so this is 17 and this is x. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to say Pythagorean Theorem tells me c squared equals a squared plus b squared, and c is the hypotenuse. So that's going to be 17 squared is directly across from the right angle. That's going to equal, and it doesn't matter what you assign to A and what you assign to B. They're both legs of the triangle. So let me say 8 squared plus x squared. So what's 17 squared? That should be 289 equals 64 is x squared plus x squared. So then take 289 and subtract away 64, and what do you get? You should be getting 225. That equals x squared. But we don't want x squared, we want x, which in this case is also zi. So take the square root of 225 and see what you get. You should be getting 15. Okay? So that's using Pythagorean Theorem along with the angle bisector theorem. So let's look now at number 4. So number 4 is going to be the same kind of problem. If they tell you that NP is 13 and CN is 6, they want to find CP, which I'll put an X right here. Now, this is a right angle here. So I know that this time the X is my hypotenuse. So I'm still going to write my C squared equals A squared plus B squared. The c is always the hypotenuse. That's going to be your x squared. And then take the other two legs and square them. So 6 squared is going to be 36, and 13 squared is 169. So 169 plus 36 is going to equal 205. Yep. Okay, so this equals 205. So that's my x squared. So what does that mean? So in order to figure this out, I'm going to take the square root of 205, and let's take it to the nearest tenth. So say second square root of 205, and that's going to be 14.3 if I do it to the nearest tenth. Okay? All right, so let's go on to the next page because we have some more to work on. So let me see. Yep, there we go. Okay, so let me go back over here. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I see what I did. I did 7 and 8 first. So now let's do the other two. So let me just erase this line. Okay. Same idea about these problems. So look at number 5. Number 5 says JY is 10. So that's 10. And CJ is 4. So they want to find CY, which is going to be X. CY is the hypotenuse. So what I know is that, and I'll always be consistent, so hold on. C squared equals A squared plus B squared. So C is the hypotenuse, and the other two are the legs. Square each leg. The order doesn't matter. That's going to give me 16 plus 100, which gives me 116 for x squared. So take the square root. So x is going to be the square root of 116. And in my calculator, I'm going to get 10.8 because I'm rounding to the nearest tenth. So look, I actually had 10.7703. If I'm rounding to the nearest tenth, always look back, and if the number behind what you want to round to is greater than or equal to 5, you round up. And that's how I got 10.8 for an answer. Okay, we have one more, and it is problem 6. So let's see what they're giving us. QJ, which is the bottom here, is 16, and CQ is 4. They want to find CJ, which is where I put my X. So, once again, C squared equals A squared plus B squared, and the C side is the X, and then take each of the legs and square them. Okay, that's going to be 16 plus 256. So plus 16 equals 272. So x squared equals 272. So x equals radical 272. And second square root of 272 equals, so it's going to end up being 16.5. So let's go over this rounding as well. So I got 16.4924. I want to round to the 10th. Look behind it. If what's behind is 5 or greater, which it is, then increase the 4 by 1, and that's how I got 16.5. Okay, so that completes this angle bisector practice. So what you're going to do is do the mock quiz for homework. We are planning on having a quiz on this next class, but I will first go over the mock quiz with you before we take that.